as mere heavy-duty machines. But under the control of highly trained operators, excavators and bulldozers can execute tasks with astonishing precision. This isn't special effects or cinematic illusion. It's real-world performance that borders on unbelievable. On a saturated, muddy field, an excavator begins the meticulous task of shaping a pond. Far from the stability of solid ground, it operates on soft, unstable terrain, where any miscalculated movement could result in track slippage or machine sinking. Yet the operator maintains perfect balance. Stationed on the muddy perimeter, the arm extends over the water, cutting through layers of malleable clay with deliberate, brushstroke-like motions. Each bucket load is extracted and deposited with consistent rhythm, an operation requiring not just visibility, but tactile sensitivity through hydraulic feedback. The process demands understanding of hydrology, soil behavior, and geometry, where to deepen, how to ensure proper drainage, and how to preserve slope curvature. This is where excavation transcends mechanical work and becomes technical terrain modeling. There were no roaring engines, no clouds of dust, just an excavator gently placing its first bucket into the thick, sticky mud. This wasn't ordinary earth, it was clay-like soil, slick and sticky enough to make any track slip if misjudged. And perhaps that's why the machine moved so softly, so deliberately, each motion more like a breath than a dig. From afar, it looked less like a construction site and more like an artist putting the first strokes onto a wet canvas. The bucket didn't scoop deeply, but with intent. Mud was lifted like strokes of paint, drawn from the water in a rhythm that felt almost like a heartbeat. Under the glaring sun reflecting off the pond surface, every clump of mud thrown aside shimmered like splashes of color. No one would think this was work. It felt more like a quiet performance of mechanical elegance. What astonishes is not the strength, but the precision. A multi-ton machine balanced on a base as soft as pudding, yet lifting 100-kilogram scoops of clay without crumbling the bank. This is more than skill. It's perfect unity between man and machine. The operator no longer needs to look. He feels every motion through the controls. Like a pianist senses each key. Every swing, every drop of the bucket is instinctual yet meticulous, as if it's his own hand shaping the soil. Under his command, the machine no longer feels like steel. It's an extension of his body. It listens, it responds. It flows so smoothly, you forget it was built for brute force. And when the shape of the pond finally emerges, you realize it wasn't just a job, it was an idea, carved into the earth with silent confidence. An extended boom reaches over a canal, its bucket entering the sludge with minimal resistance, lifting material cleanly as if handling soft paste. The success lies in the operator's ability to modulate hydraulic pressure with surgical accuracy. Each scoop reflects a real-time assessment of soil viscosity, water content, slope gradient, and load balance, synchronizing boom, stick, and bucket movement with the machine's center of gravity ensures optimal material control and minimal spillage. This demonstrates not only equipment capability, but operator finesse in real-world material dynamics. In the damp space where the muddy canal seemed capable of swallowing anything whole, a giant mechanical arm reached out, drawing a line between order and chaos. The bucket dipped gently into the dense, sticky mud, then lifted. No splatter, no overflow. It was like a spoon gliding through soft butter, unbelievably smooth. But this wasn't just mechanical precision. It was the rhythm guided from the cabin. The operator didn't just control force, he could predict how the mud would respond, how the slope would shift, how weight would press down. No instruments, no gauges, just pure instinct through his hands. Each lift of the bucket wasn't just about moving dirt, it was a display of harmony between man and machine. The pond's edge had no defined shape, just a soggy margin as soft as tofu, barely holding the weight of the machine. Yet it stood firm, tilted slightly as if crouching for a long reach. Then the bucket began to move, gracefully, like a bricklayer carefully laying the foundation. As the waterline subtly rose with every scoop, the operator didn't glance at the hole below. His eyes looked forward, focused on where the earth would transform next. He felt the weight of the soil, the slickness of the mud through the control levers, as if his fingers touched the layers directly. No wasted motion, no harsh sounds. Everything flowed with uncanny rhythm, like listening to a classical symphony performed through steel. Each swing, each lowering of the bucket was a quiet trial of composure against a landscape that refused to stay still. In the event an excavator becomes immobilized in swamp-like conditions, recovery cannot be achieved by brute pulling alone. It requires a calculated extraction plan. A second machine, typically a bulldozer, approaches from stable ground, applying force with attention to traction coefficients, load angles, and ground pressure distribution. The aim is to exert horizontal force while maintaining the rescue vehicle's own stability. A successful recovery, executed without wheel spin or frame torsion, reflects deep knowledge of mechanical leverage, load transfer, and surface behavior under stress. No sirens, no roaring engines, no movie-style drama. Just a quiet swamp where an excavator lay stuck, clinging to the earth like it had been swallowed. But silence didn't mean helplessness. It was the calm before a technical symphony. Another dozer approached, not in haste or panic, but like a chess player planning every move. Ground pressure, traction, pulling angle. Everything was calculated to avoid turning one trapped machine into two. No sudden jerks, no brute pulling, only measured, deliberate motion. And when the heavy excavator was slowly drawn from the muck without a single wheel spinning wildly, that was when skill, not force, took the spotlight. Machinery had become method, and precision became an art. Inside a low-ceilinged coal tunnel, where illumination is limited and clearance is minimal, a bulldozer is deployed to remove accumulated loose coal. Operating in such confined underground environments requires spatial awareness and micro-adjustment control. A single misalignment could damage the machine or infrastructure. The operator leverages minimal steering input, uses subtle throttle modulation, and responds to vibrations transmitted through the frame. Blade angle and downforce must be finely tuned to remove debris without destabilizing the machine. This environment leaves no room for error, only precision under pressure. In the endless tunnels of a coal mine, light barely flickers from a few industrial bulbs. The ceiling hovers just inches above the machine, and the air is thick with dust and coal particles. Here, a bulldozer begins to move, not with noise or brute force, but with the quiet grace of something gliding across glass. The operator can barely see beyond the dim glow, but he doesn't need to. He feels everything through the controls: the tremble of coal beneath the blade, the shift in weight, the whisper of change. Every push is a calculated test of finesse. A mistake could send the machine tipping or grinding against the walls. Yet it moves calmly, precisely, as if guided by instinct, honed in thousands of hours spent far from the sun. No shouting, no alarms, no background chatter. Just the soft hum of a bulldozer threading its way through shadows. This is a world stripped of sound and space, where the driver must interpret every vibration as a message. The coal isn't cooperative. It sticks, shifts, and pulls without warning. But instincts must prevail over panic. The machine must move as if led across a tightrope, slow, steady, deliberate. A wrong move and it sinks. A mistimed lift and it grinds. But none of that happens here, because the driver knows, underground, mistakes cost more than time. And in this clash of rock and steel, the quiet ones always last the longest. There is no separation between man and machine here. Deep underground, in a narrow space where visibility is nearly zero, the operator doesn't just control the bulldozer, he becomes it. Every tilt of the lever is an extension of his arm. Every tremor is felt in his chest. He doesn't look, he senses. The machine doesn't growl, it glides. It doesn't rush, it breathes, pushing waves of coal forward with surgical control. This is no place for showing off. It is where control, finesse, and trust in one's senses are the only currency. And in that black tunnel, the bulldozer is not a machine. It's a part of him, forged from countless nights away from daylight. Older generation bulldozers and excavators, lacking modern assistive technologies such as GPS, tilt sensors, or automated leveling, still perform at high levels in demanding conditions like snow and deep mud. This is not due to technological sophistication, but to operator competence. With no sensors to rely on, control depends entirely on auditory feedback, visual judgment, manual coordination, and years of practical experience. Such scenarios exemplify raw operator skill, unassisted, intuitive, and deeply technical. No GPS, no collision sensors, no self-leveling system. The old Soviet machine offers nothing but raw, honest steel. When it rolls across half a meter of snow, there's no digital map to tell where the solid ground ends and the hidden mud begins. Only the operator knows. He listens to the tracks screech against ice, feels every vibration through the seat, and reads the way snow piles at the blade's edge. There are no tricks here, only instinct forged from endless winters. This isn't just driving a machine, it's living with it. One man, one machine, and a battlefield of white. What may appear in videos as staged or digitally altered footage is, in fact, the culmination of advanced machine handling, situational awareness, and technical expertise. These are real feats executed under real-world constraints by professionals who turn machines into instruments of precision. When man and machine operate in perfect synergy, the results are not just impressive, they're seemingly unreal.